Hello, photographers and designers. Welcome to Coaching for Creatives. We are about to have a frank and honest conversation about imposter syndrome. And if you are a creative freelancer, probably you have had imposter syndrome in one form or another at some point in your life. You may not have recognized it as such, but you've probably been suffering from it. I'm McKay. I am the host of Coaching for Creatives, and I am thrilled to be having this conversation with you. And why am I so excited about it? Because imposter syndrome is something that all of my clients suffer with and that I have struggled with in my life as well. It's something that tends to ebb and flow, come and go. Sometimes we might feel on top of the world, and sometimes we might feel like nothing that we do is ever going to be good enough. I've heard imposter syndrome be called things like comparisonitis. Oftentimes, imposter syndrome comes from when we compare ourselves to other people. When we go, oh, I will never be good enough, or my skills aren't good enough, or if I look out in the world and I see all these people doing social media, I will never be able to do that. And often, imposter syndrome will then stop us. It'll actually stop us from taking action because remember, folks, it's our beliefs, our thoughts, and our feelings that lead to the actions that lead to the results. But imposter syndrome isn't just about comparing ourselves to other people. Imposter syndrome shows up in all different kinds of ways. Imposter syndrome doesn't just show up as comparisonitis. Imposter syndrome can have nothing to do with what is going on in the outside world. It just might be because you've set some impossibly high standards. If you think about, are there times in your life where you've been on a project or maybe been working on something like, oh, I don't know, your website or your offers or your pricing or your own logo or something like that, and your own perfectionism has kicked in where you start working on it and you just keep tweaking and tweaking and tweaking and tweaking and tweaking and tweaking until there's really no difference in some of the adjustments you're making. It's just you're tweaking for the sake of trying to get it to a state of perfection that doesn't exist. This is also where a lot of my clients lose a lot of money because they've set impossibly high standards for themselves and for their work that often their clients aren't actually paying for. And it's our own sense of, if I don't do it at this level, then I'm not doing a good enough job, or I'm not actually serving my client. Imposter syndrome can show up as perfectionism, not just comparisonitis. Imposter syndrome might not even look or feel like what you think imposter syndrome looks like. It might be something where you have a sense of, I don't know enough, or I need to learn more before I can take action, or I need to learn more before I can feel comfortable or confident. Imposter syndrome can show up as a compulsion to just keep learning and gathering information. If you find that you've been researching something or looking for answers about something, or you've been watching a whole bunch of free webinars, or you've been pursuing information for kind of a long time, like maybe longer than you need, two things could be happening. One, you're not getting the answers that you want, and you keep hoping that if you look, you're going to get a different answer. Or two, it could be you have a version of imposter syndrome that is about expertise or confidence and certainty. Sometimes imposter syndrome just shows up as not taking action because you don't have all the answers yet, or you're uncertain. And this happens all the time for my coaching clients. In fact, it's the number one thing that stops people from getting the help and the support they need, is they feel like, oh, I don't know enough about hiring a business coach, or I need to have all of these answers before I can really take advantage or leverage business coaching. I'm curious, what flavor of imposter syndrome is starting to resonate with you? There are a few different other kinds of imposter syndrome out there. One of them might be the natural genius, where everything you've done so far has come easily for you. You have a natural genius or talent in being able to dive right in, especially if you've picked up photography and you're self-taught, or your design work is something that has just always come easily and natural to you. You may have the expectation that the rest of your business should come easily and natural to you. And so you might resist even looking for information or resist asking for help and support because you have this idea or belief that I should be able to do it because everything else comes easy. And then what happens is imposter syndrome shows up as blaming everyone and everything else for your failures. It shows up as, well, it's not my fault. The world is against me. The algorithm changed. The website broke. The software doesn't work. It's like we deflect responsibility for our own actions because we have this belief about natural genius. This might be you. I don't know if it's you. It's definitely not me. I'm definitely more of like the expert or the comparisonitist or the perfectionist. Those are definitely more my flavors of imposter syndrome when they come up. Then what can we do to overcome or manage imposter syndrome when it rears its ugly head? And there are a few things that I use in my coaching practice and in my programs to serve and support my clients in building confidence, in really looking at, are those beliefs and those feelings really serving you? How can we do a check-in on that? One is to look for the facts instead of the feelings. Sometimes this can be a rabbit hole of distraction and a downward spiral of doom, especially if you are a comparison procrastinator. If you're a comparison procrastinator, easy for me to say, you might not want to use this technique because it involves in you writing down the facts about what you've done and the facts about what done should look like, so that you can see that you're not as far away from where you think you are. I like to think of this more as an inventory of awesome. It's about looking at who you are, looking at what you've created, and looking at the facts about what those are. Giving yourself an inventory of everything that you know, everything that you've learned, all the skills that you have, all the different kinds of software that you can use that can give you a sense of how awesome you really are, because I actually forgot one. The fourth version of imposter syndrome is conflating your self-worth with your net worth, believing that you are the work that you do, or your value or worth is only valuable and worth based on your output, your productivity, the work that you can produce, or what other people say about it. Our clients hiring you, our clients paying you, and that conflation of who you are, your own sort of internal self-worth, and the worth or the value or the success of your business, kind of blending those two together can be so insidious, because each of us, each of you, is absolutely worthwhile and valuable and has something amazing to bring to the world, regardless of how well your business is doing. Separating your self-worth from your net worth can be a really valuable tool. And one of the ways to do that is to do the inventory of awesome, where you actually make a list of everything that you are awesome about, that you have as a skill, not that you've created, not that you've outputted, not all the clients that have hired you, but who are you being and what do you care about and what are your values, and really getting to know yourself and be able to see the evidence of awesome in who you already are. Another way that you can overcome or manage imposter syndrome is to get some outside opinions. And I know if you ask your mom, she's going to say that you're awesome or you're great, or I hope she will say that you're awesome and you're great. If you ask your besties, maybe they'll also say, oh, you're so great and talented and amazing. And you might not believe them or trust that input. Finding some trusted advisors or a business coach or a network of support that can give you some vetted, credible, reasonable outside perspective. They can help you see, you know what, you have been working 60 hours a week. That is a lot of time to be investing in it. Maybe you need to separate yourself from your business a little bit, or they may be able to see areas of your greatness that you don't. One of the things that I love about having a business coach myself and being part of some mastermind networks is that I do get that outside perspective. And it's often very difficult for us as individuals to see our own greatness, to see the wins that we have created, to see the successes that we have generated for ourselves. And a lot of times this is because we are trained by default to look for the danger and the failure and what doesn't work and what sucks and how bad we are. If we're really practiced at doing that, and most of us are because it's part of our culture, how do we shift our focus and start to see all of that evidence of awesome? How do we actually get to the place where we can make that inventory? And a lot of times it's having some external perspective to help us identify, this is a win, this is a success. And the other piece of that, which I know if you've been in my community for any length of time, is to celebrate those successes. Too often we spend so much of our time focusing on what sucked and what didn't work and the failures, and we don't spend nearly enough time celebrating our successes, even the small ones, and having people where we can feel comfortable and confident to celebrate with. A lot of times there's even negativity around celebrating. It's considered bragging or not very professional, but there are ways that you can celebrate your success, and certainly there are people that you can celebrate your success with so that you can reconnect with the fact that you are not an imposter. You are a skilled, multi-passionate individual who is braving the world of freelancing to bring your skills in support of others. That is a huge, huge value in the world and nothing to sneeze at. It can be scary, especially if you're doing it alone. Look for a business coach. Look for communities like my Facebook community. Look for places where you can celebrate your successes and start to see yourself as the amazing human being and the amazing creative that you are. Those are a couple of ways that you can deal with imposter syndrome. Make an inventory of awesome, get an outside perspective, start celebrating your small successes and your wins. Those are the big ones. And then I would look at, there's some fabulous mindset tools that can help you start at that core level of those thoughts and beliefs to start changing your thinking, or at least the self-talk that happens when you have those thoughts. I have a tool called progressive statements that I've talked about in some of my other videos. I'll pop the link in here for you to be able to download it and see if that might serve and support you. My final request is, what flavor of imposter are you? What kind of imposter syndrome has shown up in your life? If I've missed any, please let me know. And what, if any, tools have you used to overcome or manage imposter syndrome in your life and your business? Hope to hear from you. Love to continue the conversation. This has been Coaching for Creatives. I'm Aura McKay. I'm your host. Please, if you do have anything that you would like to talk to me about, reach out, book a quick 15-minute call with me, and I'm happy to chat with you about your creative business. Have a fantastic day.